guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing some more 30-minute dinner ideas. So these are going to be super quick and easy to throw together. If you are on a time crunch, you don't feel like cooking, or you just need something really easy to pull together on a busy weeknight, these ideas are going to be perfect for you. So I have 4 of them that I'm sharing in today's video. If this is your first time stopping by my channel, I just want to say welcome. My name is Caitlin. I do a lot of really quick and easy recipes on my channel, grocery hauls, food prep, and other food related content. So if that is something that you're interested in, make sure you're subscribed, and let's go ahead and get into all of these dinner recipes. For this first dinner, I'm making some Italian sliders. These were super quick and easy to pull together, great for a busy weeknight. So I'm starting off with all different types of meat here. So I've got some Black Forest ham, some salami, as well as some pepperoni. And then I have some rolls, as well as some provolone cheese. And we're just gonna be layering all of this together. So I'm starting off with these sweet and buttery rolls. They were actually supposed to be Hawaiian rolls, but I ended up getting a substitution with my grocery order. But these turned out really good with this recipe, so you can use either the Hawaiian rolls or you can also use the buttery rolls, but you're just going to slice those open. Now once you have those opened up, we're going to be layering in all of the cheese and the meats in here. So I'm starting off with the provolone cheese. We're actually going to be doing 2 layers of cheese in this. So I started off with about 4 pieces of cheese on the bottom layer, and then I'm going to be working with my Black Forest ham. Now when it comes to the meats here, you can add as much as you want or as little as you want. I definitely added more ham than anything else, and then I did just a really thin layer of pepperoni and the salami, but go ahead and use whatever you want in the amounts that you want. I will have the original recipe linked down below. I tweaked it just a little bit, but I will have it linked down below for you guys. I did a pretty even layer of the pepperoni and the salami, and I felt like that was just about right for this recipe. So I'm getting that on there, and then I'm also going to be adding on another layer of the provolone cheese. This time I did add a little bit more cheese on top, but the cheese on top and the cheese on bottom, it melted down super great around the meat, and this was such a great sandwich idea. Really quick and easy to pull together if you are just busy and need something nice and fast. And my kids also love these, so I threw those into my casserole dish, and then I have about half a stick of melted butter. I added in just a little squirt of mustard, a little squirt of Worcestershire sauce, and I'm mixing that together, and this is going to go right on top of the rolls. I ended up not using the full amount of the butter, so you can use more or less, but I probably used about 2/3 of this, and then I had a little bit left over as well. I baked this in a 350-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. You just want to bake it until all of the cheese is melted through and the meat is nice and warm, and the top of the roll should just be a little bit toasted, nice and golden brown. And then I just pulled these out. I let them cool for just a minute, and then I'm just slicing them up. Now my kids really enjoyed these. If you have kids, this is a really kid-friendly dinner, or my kids loved it anyway, so I think yours would as well. This would also work really great for parties as a little side dish or an appetizer. This is definitely a really fun recipe to make. For this next dinner, I'm making a lasagna soup. Now I've made this before and it turns out really good every single time. So I'm starting off with a pound of some Italian ground sausage. So I have that about halfway cooked through at this point, and then I'm adding in 1 chopped up onion as well as a couple of diced up carrots. The recipe did not call for the carrots, but I love to sneak veggies in where I can, and I feel like carrots actually pairs really well in this soup, so I like to sneak that in this recipe. I'm cooking that up until it is completely cooked through and the carrots are nice and soft, as well as the onions, and then I'm adding in a big scoop of minced garlic. Definitely want some garlic in this recipe. It's really good in here. So I'm mixing all of that together, letting that garlic saute for another minute or so, and then I'm going to be adding in the rest of my ingredients for the sauce for the soup. So this is 2 cans of diced tomatoes, and then you're also going to want to add in a can of tomato paste. That's just going to really give it a rich flavor. And then for the broth, I'm adding in about 4 cups of chicken broth. For the seasonings, I'm adding in 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon of some oregano, and then 1 teaspoon of some basil. And then I'm just going to bring all of this up to a boil. Once it is boiling, then I will be able to add in my pasta. Once the soup is boiling, it is time to add in the pasta. So what you see me adding in here is actually broken up lasagna noodles. The recipe calls for about 8 of them, so I only had about 5 of them on hand. So I ended up adding in a little bit of some bow tie pasta, but you're gonna want about 8 noodles that are broken up. Now you're gonna cook these for about 15 minutes to 20 minutes, just depending on how long it takes. And then once it's done cooking, I did add in about a cup of some mozzarella cheese and just kind of let that melt in there. This is such a great weeknight dinner. We really enjoy this one. My kids eat it really well, and I like that you can kind of sneak some veggies in there too. This next dinner idea is going to be some sheet pan chicken fajitas. Now this is super quick and easy. We love fajitas in this house. So I'm starting off with cutting up all of my peppers. So for me personally and our family, we tend to prefer a sweet bell pepper. The recipe called for 2 sweet bell peppers and then 1 green pepper, but I just omitted the green one and I swapped it out for a second red pepper because that is our favorite. So I'm just slicing these up thinly and tossing them into a bowl. If you want your fajitas to be a little bit more meaty and a little bit less veggies, then I would just go ahead and swap out one of these bell peppers for a little extra chicken, and that's going to make them a little bit higher protein. So I'm slicing up all of those peppers, and then I am also going to be cutting up 1 onion. You can use a purple onion if you want, or for myself, I am just using a yellow onion because I always have those on hand, and I'm just slicing that up too. Now into this little bowl, I'm just mixing up my fajita seasoning. So this is 1 tablespoon of chili powder, a tablespoon of cumin, a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of paprika, a teaspoon of dried oregano, half a teaspoon of onion powder, and then I added in just a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. I will have that full recipe linked down below for you guys, but then you're just gonna give all of this a good mix together. Now if you don't want to make your own fajita seasoning, you could definitely pick one up at the store, but it really is super affordable to make at home and very easy to throw together. Heading over here to my sheet pan, I'm just drizzling that with a little bit of olive oil, and then I'm tossing on my peppers and my onions as well as my chicken. This is just 2 chicken breasts that I cut up into some bite-sized pieces, and then I'm taking all of that fajita seasoning and that is going right on top, and I'm going to toss all of this together. Now I ended up not using the full amount of the fajita seasoning just because I didn't want it to be too spicy for my kids, so you can use the full amount or you can use a little bit less like I did, and I'm just tossing all of this together. I baked these fajitas in a 400-degree oven for about 10 minutes, and then I actually stirred them in the oven, and then I put them in for about 10 minutes more. The recipe said to only do about 5 minutes more, but I really like to have our peppers a little bit on the softer side for my kids, so I cooked them a little bit longer, but they should only take about 15 to 20 minutes in the oven, and this is what the fajitas should look like when they come out. They're super delicious. I love to serve these with just some sour cream, some cheese. If you have never tried making fajitas at home, it's such a great, easy, and a pretty healthy option. This next dinner is going to be some bacon cheeseburger tortellini. This was my first time trying this recipe out and we really enjoyed it. So I'm starting off with cooking up my tortellini. So I just have my boiling water there and I'm adding in my frozen tortellini, and I'm just cooking that up according to the directions on the back. Now into my Dutch oven pot, I have 1 pound of some lean ground beef, and then I'm adding in about half a cup of some diced up purple onion, and I'm just gonna cook all of this up together until the ground beef is fully cooked through. At this point, the onions should be really nice and translucent in color and cooked through. Once that tortellini has cooked through completely, I drained it off and then I'm tossing it back into my pot, and I'm also drizzling on a little bit of olive oil and I'm just tossing that together. This is just to prevent the tortellini from sticking together while I finish cooking the rest of the ingredients. Now back over to my Dutch oven pot, I'm adding in a big scoop of minced garlic. You guys know I like my garlic. I let that cook for a good 30 seconds or so, and then I'm just seasoning this up with some salt and some pepper. I'm adding in 1 can of FAJITAS tomatoes. Now the recipe actually called for some cherry tomatoes that were sliced in half, but I did not have any of those on hand, so I just substituted that for the canned tomatoes, and I thought that worked just fine. So after a couple minutes of letting that heat up, I'm adding in 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and I'm mixing this into the ground beef and the tomatoes. I'm going to let this cook up for a good minute or so. After that flour had cooked up for about a minute, then I'm adding in my milk. This is just 1.5 cups of regular whole milk from my fridge. So I'm just kind of gradually adding that in there and letting it thicken up with this mixture. After the milk is mixed into the sauce and is starting to thicken up, now it's time to add in the spinach. So here's about 2 cups of some fresh spinach. I'm just dumping that into the sauce, and I'm basically just going to let this wilt. Once it is wilted, then I will add in the rest of my ingredients. So here I have some real bacon pieces. This is just the small package. You can also cook your own bacon if you want to, but I chose to take the easy way out. And then I'm taking all of that cooked up tortellini, adding that into my sauce, and then I'm also adding in a good amount of Colby and Monterey Jack cheese, and I'm just going to mix all of this together. After all of that cheese is melted in there, I am going to add a little bit more on top just to top it all up, and I'm popping the lid of my Dutch oven back on there just to let it all melt together. This is such a quick and easy dinner idea, something a little bit unique to do with tortellini. Well, that is going to wrap up this 30-minute dinner ideas video. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you have not already. I share a lot of really quick and easy recipes on my channel, crockpot dinners, and other food-related content. So definitely make sure you're subscribed, and I will catch you all in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.
As a young girl, it feels we're mine. We played hide and seek for hours, raised our shadows among the pines. So offshore, playful and free, without a care.